In 1960, my dad was building a house next to our family home. And so he was talking to the builder, and the builder said, "There's a terrible range of tiles in Australia, it's shocking." Dad said, "Well, I've got an import licence, which you had to have in those days. I'll import some." So with that deep and meaningful market research, he imported some tiles, put them in our back garage behind our family home, sort of worked it up from there. I joined him 8 years later and we went from there. The block has been fantastic for us because we were moving into Sydney and New South Wales at the time, and advertising is really, really expensive in Sydney especially. So I think by having the block, it enabled us to then move forward and create a brand in that huge city without having to invest quite as much in the advertising. Certainly we had to back it up with advertising, but it was fantastic to be able to have that brand profile. And now we have 30 outlets in New South Wales. I think our greatest business success was when we purchased the business called Southport Ceramics in Queensland. We were the largest in Australia at the time, but Southport would have been the second biggest. And we had the opportunity of buying Southport Ceramics, but the only way we could do that was to actually sell 25% of our shares to an external shareholder to raise the funds to enable us to buy Southport Ceramics. We did that, it was a raging success, fantastically successful, and then over the next few years we were able to then buy back those shares back into the family. The biggest concern must be the price of power. Power is to the forefront of every retail consumer's mind, and they're not buying as much retail because they're so worried about where they're going to get the money from to pay their next power bill. Power costs are the biggest impediment to retail in Australia, in my opinion. The best thing about having a home base in South Australia is we get to live in South Australia, and it's the greatest place in Australia to live. But also it's a fantastic place to do business from because we're the 20-minute city. As it turns out, and I didn't plan it this way, my house is exactly 20 minutes from my office, exactly 20 minutes from the airport, and exactly 20 minutes from the city. The big trends at the moment are, number one, the move towards terrazzo look tiles, and number two, very large tiles. And I'm talking probably 2.4 metres long by 800 or 1200 wide. Get really good people and be very, very loyal to them, because if you're loyal to them, chances are they'll be loyal to you. And then, don't dream big, dream huge.